Can narcissists change? I'm the shepherd of black sheep, the wizard of radical self-respect, Jared Mello. Before I even say anything about whether narcissists can change or not, this is the most important part of this whole video. Regardless of what anyone says, what you have to do is pay attention to someone's actions. If someone's actions are not showing that they are changing, it does not matter what they say. It does not matter if narcissists can change or not. In reality, in your present situation, if you are currently being mistreated, that is what matters. If you are being disrespected right now or abused, that is what matters. And you have to act accordingly based on the actions. That's a huge disclaimer to this. But what is my opinion on whether narcissists can change? My thoughts on the matter are, if a narcissist can admit they have a problem, if they can practice honesty, humility, and admit when they're wrong, take accountability, and do some action steps, I do think behavior modification is possible. I don't think they can rewire their brains completely. They can try using some neuroplasticity methods, but ultimately, I think they're still going to feel the emotional reactions, the sensitivity to criticism, but what they can do is they can learn to take a step back and maybe respond rather than react and become able to modify their behaviors. But again, it is a rare thing for narcissists to be able to do all of those things I just said. Whether it's admit they have a problem, practice honesty, practice humility, learn how to take accountability, learn how to admit when they're wrong. To be able to do those things is honestly pretty rare. And there is a self-aware narcissist community now, and they may talk a good game, but honestly, I don't know how they act behind closed doors. And unless someone can see how they act behind closed doors, they don't know the true story either. But my thoughts on the matter are, I have seen some people, especially at a self-help place like AA or NA, people who had a lot of problematic behaviors. I don't know if they're a full-blown narcissist or not, but I have seen people change, and in no small part because they were able to be honest, practice humility, admit they were wrong, and learn how to take accountability. But honestly, it is very difficult for a person who is a full-blown narcissist to be able to do that. And I do believe narcissism is a spectrum, and I bet you the more severe versions, it is probably much less likely that they will change. The less severe varieties, probably much more possible. But again, a lot of this is just talk. It doesn't really matter. All that really matters is when you know somebody, how are they treating you today? Are they treating you well? Are they disrespecting you? Or is it in their temperament where they just can't respect you? And that is a lot of what I have seen when it comes to full-blown narcissists. Their temperament, just by being who they are, is naturally disrespectful. And they have to learn how to take a step back and not be who they are, which is a massive ask, which is why I think it is so rare. But for the very most part, many of them never admit they have an issue. But as a content creator, I do occasionally see some people who say, yes, it sounds like you're talking about me when you talk about these narcissistic behaviors. When you talk about these toxic behaviors, it sounds like you're talking about me. And I listen to what they have to say. And it's not like they're being gaslit by a partner who's telling them they're a narcissist. Some of them are fully admitting, yes, I do truly do these narcissistic behaviors. That is different than when someone is being told they're a narcissist by a narcissistic partner, because that does happen too. But I do hear this. I think this is possible. How well do they do? That has to be taken on a case-by-case basis. I think there has been some studies with people there. They tried to see if there would be improvement. And I think in a couple studies, which I will have to look up their names, Some of them had some positive effect. But again, whether they change or not, or can change or not, what really matters is, how are they treating you today? Don't try to hold on to the thought or the hope that a narcissist may change. What are the realities of their actions today? That is what truly matters. And if someone is truly changing, what are some signs they are changing? Well, they are honest. They are practicing humility, which means admitting they're wrong, taking accountability, saying they're sorry and meaning it. Those are some of the signs that, yeah, maybe they are turning over a new leaf. But until you see those steps, I wouldn't even think about it at all. And another way to tell that maybe they're not changing is if they try to apologize to you, and if you don't accept it, they might become really furious. The truly humble apology is going to be okay with whatever your response is. And this is something I learned in NA, mind you, where they say when you truly make amends, all you can do is take care of your side of the street. The result of that amends, and the best amends is changed behavior, of course. The best apology is changed behavior. But after you do that, and you say you're very sorry for your part in it, and then change the behavior, the result is on the other person. And that's what I say is a very humble apology, when you're okay with whatever reaction or response the person gives you. If someone gets super angry that you don't forgive them right away, that's a red flag, that they're not truly being humble. They're doing it for a specific outcome. They want you to act a certain way. And yes, as a human, we would want our apologies to be received well, but a truly humble apology will be okay with whatever response they get. But that's just one more example. But can they hear the word no? Can they disagree with you in a healthy way? Do they handle conflicts well? How do you solve problems together? How do they hear the word no and not get furious? These are all things to pay attention to. And when they don't get their way, how do they act then? Because if they're going to start wiling out when they hear the word no, or throw a temper tantrum when they don't get their way, these are all red flags that they haven't changed. And I talk about these behaviors all the time, but what I don't talk about is what are the ways to tell someone's actually doing better. I don't talk about that nearly as much, but it's like I said, honesty, humility, learning to take accountability, and learning to admit when they're wrong. The big four, we'll call those. They are humongous, and most full-blown narcissists would really struggle with those things. Instead of taking accountability, you will notice maybe they'll play the victim, or maybe they will blame anyone and everyone except for themselves. Red flag. Or how about an apology? Are they able to make an apology and then, most importantly, change their behavior? And if they make an apology, are they okay with whatever response they get? Are they able to truly be honest? Are they able to act humbly in other ways as well? Or do you think they really just need a never-ending source of narcissistic supply? All things to pay attention to here, and it won't be a black or white answer. And in the narcissistic space here, we don't talk much about this side because the vast majority don't change. And we don't want to give people false hope that maybe they will. But in my personal opinion, I do think it's possible, but I can't state this more clearly. It's going to all depend on their actions. Don't just believe someone's changed because of their words. You would have to see it with their actions. And the tough part about this is, if you believe someone's a narcissist and you've gone no contact, in order for them to even have a chance, you would have to break no contact. And that's not something I would endorse. And that's why if you've had such a bad history with somebody, chances are you shouldn't take that person back. But this video mostly is for the self-aware narcissists themselves. For the people who think, well, I'm in this boat. Does that just mean my life is over? No, I don't think your life is over. I think I've seen people at AA and NA they have improved. They've been able to modify their behaviors. I don't think they were able to completely rewire their brain so that they feel things completely differently. I don't think that's possible. But behavior modification is possible. And I'm someone that I'm probably neurodivergent. I probably had Asperger's that was undiagnosed, and then it turned into maybe a borderline personality disorder, and maybe then some narcissistic traits too. And I understand this side of it. And I'm telling you a little bit of what's worked for me as well. Writing on the Step Working Guide from NA, that really, really helped me to gain some self-awareness and learn about some of these spiritual principles. And spiritual principles, when used correctly, honestly, and with humility, can be really great. They can really transform people's lives. But the problem is, if someone's a full-blown narcissist, a lot of times, they can twist and distort the spiritual principles. But that's why the spiritual principles can keep people on track. Honesty and humility, making amends, and when you're wrong, promptly admitting it, those are all part of a 12-step program. Those are things that can help keep a person on track. Now, someone who has full-blown NPD, that is a little bit beyond the scope of what AA and NA would deal with, but I do think it's absolutely better than nothing. And there are specialized psychologists like Dr. Mark Ettinson, who I've interviewed. He specializes in treating narcissism. And if there was no hope in treating narcissism, I don't know if someone like him would have a job. And I know Cluster B Milkshake, who I've interviewed, she's on the waiting list, she said, to go be treated by Dr. Mark Ettinson. And I think that's encouraging too. But again, they can do everything they can to try to help their side of the street. But at the end of the day, how are they acting? And again, if you've had a romantic relationship with a narcissist and you've gone no contact and your life's gotten better, I wouldn't recommend taking them back. Stay no contact. And this is why we don't talk about this side as much, because it's just simpler. But this is where the stages of recovery come in too. The first stage, stage 1, is you learn all about narcissism and toxic behavior, and you learn that it wasn't you, it wasn't all your fault. You're actually just dealing with an abusive person who was manipulating you, gaslighting you, flipping the script, playing the victim, etc. Then, as time goes on, you maybe begin to realize, well, maybe I did overlook some red flags in the beginning. Maybe I could have been more assertive. Maybe I'm a people pleaser. Maybe I'm codependent. But you realize, as everyone realizes at some point, none of us are perfect. It doesn't mean what happened in that relationship was your fault, but it means none of us are perfect. And then finally, third, I used to say learning how to let go of resentment, but I also think acceptance is a good way to put it too. But the third stage is accepting what's happened in the past and letting go of the anger that we may have towards the situation. Anger is going to be a healthy part of the healing process. Usually that's more of a stage 1 into stage 2 kind of healing concept. But in stage 3, hopefully we've been able to let go of the anger and learn how to be the happiest and healthiest version of ourselves and have a mindset towards the situation or whatever it was that helps us to be the happiest and healthiest version of ourselves. That's what it's all about to me. What helps you to be the happiest and healthiest version of yourselves? That's what my goal is. To me, that's what practicing radical self-respect is all about. What helps you to get to that place? And all 3 of these stages are important. People will go through them at their own pace. And I think it is important to know what stage someone's in. Because what I would say to someone who's in stage 3 might sound like victim blaming or gaslighting to someone in stage 1. But it does depend on where they are. And what someone needs to hear in stage 1 will be different than what someone needs to hear in stage 2, in stage 3, etc. But back to the main point of this video here, is it possible narcissists can change? I do think it's possible, but also unlikely. But either way, remember the actions will tell the tale. I don't think you should go ahead and break no contact with somebody that you felt the need to go no contact with. I'm not saying that. But this video is mostly for The self-aware narcissists out there, the people who reach out to me sometimes and say, hey, it sounds like you're talking about me. What do I do? Is it hopeless for me? Like I said, I don't think it's hopeless for you. I do think behavior modification is possible. But remember those big four: honesty, humility, learn how to take accountability, learn how to admit when you're wrong. Those big four things can really save your butt and can really keep you on the path. And if you're truly honest about wanting to improve and wanting to get better, remember those four things. And maybe writing on the steps in the step working guide, trying to reach out to a counselor or therapist who specializes in treating narcissism. If we truly want to change, our actions will show it at the end of the day. Regardless of what we say, a lot of people who are narcissists, they are experts at saying the right things and sounding like they're willing to make a change and sounding like they're being humble, but in reality, their actions are not showing that. Remember, what people do will speak loudly or speak so loudly we can't hear what they say, as Ralph Waldo Emerson would say. Remember those actions. That's the most important part. If you got this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I am going to try to be making more longer form videos here because the shorts videos, they're great for helping people to find the channel, but it's a different muscle for me, the shorts, the quick little 60-second hit, boom. It's different. Like, you get 1 point, 2 points in. It helps people find the channel. But the longer form content here, that's where the magic happens. That's where people can really learn about these concepts. And that's where I can really get all of my thoughts out because there is no time constraint, which is wonderful. But like the video if you liked it, share this video with someone else that you think might benefit, and comment below if you're a self-aware narcissist. Comment below if you know someone that has been on the narcissistic spectrum and they've changed. Or maybe you are and you've changed. Let me know. We would love to hear it. And again, thank you very much for watching and have a great rest of your day.